I'm Beryl, and this week we're looking at breakfasts. Let's go. Breakfast wasn't always such a beloved meal. In fact, in the Middle Ages in Europe, it was considered an affront to God to eat so early on in the day. But then, in the 1600s, coffee and tea arrived in Europe, and things began to change. Coffee smells so good. I did an around the world coffee, actually, if you're interested. Link. Okay. Then came the Industrial Revolution, and people needed an actual full meal in the morning to get them through a big day of labor. I broke the yolk. Whatever. Kellogg and Post then came onto the scene. Toasters were invented, waffle irons were invented. Breakfast became a huge thing, quickly. Oh, hi buddy. Oh my God, he can't have my breakfast. Yeah. To be fair, that history lesson was really just about the US and Europe, but around the world, breakfast is important. And the foods vary wildly country to country. And personally, breakfast is my favorite meal of the day, so I really wanted to make this episode. I got to speak to 7 people in 7 countries to see what breakfast was like around the world. So this is the breakfast episode. In making this episode, I decided 2 things. 1, I love eggs, but I'm not looking at egg-led breakfasts, so no omelets or frittatas or quiches. That was my choice. And 2, I'm looking at breakfast to redefine my narrow Western scope of what breakfast is. Before we begin, I want to say this. I know that 7 is a paltry number. It really doesn't do justice to the amazing diversity of breakfast foods around the world. So I'm hoping that maybe the comment section can look a bit like a breakfast menu. Let me know what breakfast is like where you live. And if you know an amazing recipe, leave it because I love cooking and I will totally try. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's do it.
Breakfast is a savory meal where I live, in Bharuch. And we can make it more spicy if you like it and less spicy if you don't like it.
We could eat grits in the South just about every day. It is a very popular breakfast food.
Súp lươn với cháo lươn là họ ăn sáng. Đây là cái khâu chế biến làm cái lươn nhỏ đấy, để cho nhiều người họ không sợ đấy. Làm lươn nhỏ này, mình chế biến nấu màu đẹp này.
Anh saoမြန်မာလူမျိုးတွေရဲ့ပါဇက်ရှားတွေးတဲ့အစားအစာကတော့အားလုံးရဲ့အကြိုက်လူမျိုးမရွေးဘာသာမရွေးလဲစားလို့ဖြစ်တဲ့မုံရင်းကားကိုတော့လူတိုင်းကအနှစ်သက်ဆုံးနဲ့နှစ်သက်သက်ကိုစားဖြစ်ကြပါတယ်
Chakula ya asubuhi hapa Kenya, breakfast, chai, mandazi. Inawaunganisha. Mwingine ananunulia mwingine.
İşte dedelerden öyle gelen yemek, kahvaltı. Çok yesen olmuyor. Az yiyeceksin, çok yedin mi tansiyon yükselir, rahatsız olursun.
منقوشة الزعتر كتير محبوبة مع اللبنانية، في ناس بياكلوها كل يوم هن ورايحين على الشغل.
We're gonna begin in Vietnam because this breakfast soup really challenged me to rethink about what a breakfast food is. We're beginning with eel soup.
Ăn là thấy ngon rồi. Vì nhiều người vào đấy là sợ lắm, không ăn được. Nhưng tôi này chỉ ăn thử đi một lần. Đấy, nhưng khi ăn vào là thấy ngon. Đấy, đảm bảo của tôi là như thế. Tôi tên là Thủy. Nghề của tôi là nghề bán súp lươn, cháo lươn. Là nghề của tôi là làm được 20 năm rồi. Cái súp lươn này á, là khi mình mua lươn con về thì bắt đầu mình trồng trong một cái chậu nước cho to. Đấy, xong rồi mình phải đổ cái nước ra, mình rửa sạch lươn xong bỏ muối vào. 3 giờ sáng tôi dậy là tôi bắt đầu mình bật nước dùng lên, bỏ xương vào đun. Đun xương rồi bắt đầu quay vào, bắt đầu tôi mới phí màu. Cắt rau xong bắt đầu quay vào tôi mới nấu lươn. Nấu lươn xong là ra nước dùng là vì mình dậy sớm mà. Mình dậy từ 3 giờ sáng nên là nước dùng là cũng đã hầm được 3-4 tiếng đồng hồ rồi. Ăn kem với súp lươn á thì có bánh mì, bánh cuốn, bánh đa. Kể cả ngoài Bắc vào đây họ nói là súp lươn nên phải cay, nên phải tự nhiều người không ăn được cay nhưng mà cũng phải ăn để cho biết một lần để cho mà nhớ. cũng không biết được là cái vị của họ như thế nào. Chứ còn vị của tôi đấy thì cũng như thường đấy, thì tôi cũng phi hành tâm lên cùng nấu như bình thường, như cái đam mê của tôi đó. Tôi cảm thấy thì ăn được là tôi thấy ngon, là khách ăn được.
In Kenya, breakfast can be a simple affair, but their versions of fried dough look way better than anything I've tried here in New York.
Nazoea kupika hiyo mandazi na chai kwa sababu customer wakicha sana sana wanauliza chai mandazi. Majina yangu naitwa Stephen Chem. Naishi Kashe. Hii breakfast wa Kenya jumla sio ya watu wazima peke yake. Inakuwa na vitu kama 3 hivi. Na sukari, kitu ya kwanza ikue, ya pili baking powder ikue, maji ikue. Sasa uweke unga. Sasa naanza kukata, unakunja, unasukuma, upendue. Sasa utoe mandazi, ukijaribu kukula inakuja delicious. Na bibi wangu na watoto wangu itusaidie, ona hata mmoja na peleka ndio tusaidike. Mimi ni hodari sana kupika mandazi. Hata mandazi nikipeleka kama mtu mwingine akipika, wanasema mzee si wewe ndio ulipika. Hiyo mandazi mtu akikula anasikia tamu. Swali inaingia, mzee unatengeneza namna gani?
I believe that cheese is always a great idea for breakfast. And then I found this dish from Turkey and we had to film it.
Tamam, bizim yöreye de ait aynı yine kaymağın kuymağı var. Türkiye'de yaygınım o kadar değil, en fazla yoğun Karadeniz tarafı. İsmim Bedriye Genç. Sakarya'da yaşıyorum, Hendek'te oturuyoruz. Biz 40 sene önce geldik Artvin'den. Her kahvaltıda yapılan. Bizim Artvin kuymağımız kaymağıyla, sarı mısır unundan yapılan bir kuymak. Karadeniz usulü oranın yöresinin kuymağı da aynı tereyağıyla peynir koyuyorlar içine. Aynı ona da az su koyuyorlar. Her ikisine de ayrı ayrı yarım bardak su koyuyorlar. Tuz ayrı ayrı. İkisinin de ayrı ayrı güzelliği var. Yine de koku, lezzeti yine süta dayanıyor. Yine peynir var, koku, süt koku var kaymağın. O kadar başka bir şey yok. Yağlı oluyor çok. Fazla yenilmez işte. Çok lezzetli ama her şeyden. Kim biliyorsa gerçek lezzet. Çabuk, pratik yapılan kahvaltılık bir şey. Normalde eşimle kahvaltı yapıyoruz 2 kişi. Ama hafta sonu 2 hafta da bir işte çocuklar geliyorlar. Onlarla da beraber yapıyoruz kahvaltı. Eskiden hani hep seviyoruz. Öyle gidiyor. Onun için yapıyoruz. Dinç kalkıyorsun, doyuyorsun her şey güzelliğiyle.
Breakfast in the US has serious range, but it is way more than waffles and pancakes. And in the South, they do it right.
Breakfast is a very important meal of the day. However, when it comes to having grits, it's typically something that you might see happening more often on the weekend. My name is Darius Williams, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. A typical breakfast in the South includes fish and grits. Although you can get grits pretty much all over the country, they're very, very popular in lots of southern states simply because grits come from the Native Americans and we sort of have adopted them in the South. I learned how to make grits from watching my grandmother. I would just literally sit in awe and watch her as she caressed that pot of grits into the creamy delicacy that it is. For catfish and grits, we're gonna take catfish fillets that are gonna get soaked in buttermilk and then deep fried until they're golden brown and delicious. We're gonna put that on top of some amazing, creamy, wonderful grits. We're gonna do a little bit of tomato right on top because what else is Southern besides tomato, catfish, and grits with a little bit of cream? It is to die for. The most difficult part about making grits is getting it to be the right consistency. You can't rush it. This is a thing of love. When I think about what happens over a pot of grits, it is hearing the laughters and the conversation between all of our family, sort of connecting and spending time with each other. I firmly believe that food and cooking is the way to connect with your family.
India has a lot of amazing dishes, but these steamed ones from the south of the country caught my eye.
I'm making dhokla and patra today. This breakfast is typical in my country. My name is Aneri Chavan. I live in Bharuch, India. Dhokla is fermented rice and urad dal. Patra is colocasia leaves which are coated with gram flour, and it is steamed and also fried. Dhokla is milder and patra is a spicier thing. It takes 8 to 9 hours to make dhokla. The most difficult part is the fermenting part. When you have to mix it in the mixer, the batter should have the desired consistency. To achieve that, it is a bit difficult. Patra's difficult part is coating them with the gram flour and just binding them and folding them. Any chance the fold gets open, then it is of no fun. Breakfast in my house is a sitting down affair. My son, my husband, we three have the breakfast in the morning together only before leaving for the job. These dishes are quite steamed and healthy, so I like them the most. It gives you a lot of mileage to work for the entire day.
Some have called this next breakfast from Lebanon pizza-like, and I'm not sure that's the best description. However, damn if it is not amazing.
شو هي المنقوشة؟ هي عجينة عليها زعتر وزيت وبتفوت على الفرن تنخبز مثل البيتزا المعروفة عالميا. اسمي ناجي ناكوزي، عايش بفيترون، ضيعة من لبنان. المنقوشة لنقدر يطلع لنا منقوشة طيبة بدنا نعمل عجينة قبل بيوم، عجينة عادية يلي معمولة من طحين ومي وخميرة وشوية ملح، ونعمل خلطة زعتر يلي هي معمولة من زعتر، زيت زيتون، سمسم، سماق ورشة ملح. بدنا نرق العجينة نعملها بشكل سيركل ونحط عليها الزعتر والزيت زيتون بطريقة نغطيها كلها سوا. هلا هي وبالفرن هون بصير شيء مثل السحر، بصير في بابلز عم يطلعوا وبتصير تشقر على الطوريف. وقت نشيلها من الفرن هون فينا نطويها وفينا نقصها تراينجلز. كل كاتشة فيها طعمة لبنان، رح نحس بطعمة الزعتر، طعمة شوي الملح، طعمة الحامض يلي جاي من السماق، كل هالميكس، وطعمة زيت الزيتون، كلهم جايين على عجينة محمصة بذات الوقت طرية من جوا. وهيدي هي سحر المنقوشة اللبنانية. في كتير من اللبنانية بيحبوا ياكلوها سادة، وفي ناس بيحبوا يحطوا عليها لبنة يلي هي نوع من الكريم تشيز اللبنانية، وبندورة جبلية، خيار، نعناع من جنينة، وزيتون أخضر أو زيتون أسود. لأنه تحضير المنقوشة بيتقسم مع كل العائلة ومنساعد بعضنا، لآخر شي نقعد ونتروق مع بعض.
The final breakfast dish is another soup. This one is from Myanmar, and it has so many flavors that it feels like the perfect dish to set yourself up for the day.
ရတာလေလူတိုင်းပါဇက်ဖြားမှာရိုးမသွားဘူးပေါ့ဘလို့ပဲစားစားအခုမနေ့ကစားသွားလိုက်ပြီးတဲ့ဟေးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကို့အိမ်မှာချက်စားလို့နေ့လေကြံတယ်ဟေးဆိုဟင်းမုံဟင်းငါးကြံသေးလားစားကြင်သေးတယ်ဆိုတဲ့အဲ့ဒါမျိုးပေါ့မုံဟင်းငါးရဲ့အရတာကိုဟောကျမနာမည်ဒေါ်သိန်ကြီးညွတ်ပါကျမမန္တလေးမြို့မှာနေတာပါဟင်းရစိမ့်အရတာလို့ပဲအန်တီယူဆတယ်ဘာလို့လဲဆိုတော့သူဒီကလက်ဘဲနဲ့ငါးနဲ့အဓိကတွဲချက်ထားတဲ့မုံရင်းငါးတို့ပြောတယ်ဟေးဆိုရင်အဓိကလူတွေကဒီတိုင်းအရေးထဲမှာပဲတမ်းမြင်ညမှာဟဲ့ငပြောဥတွေပါတယ်ကြက်ဥဖြစ်စီအဆက်စားခြင်းတဲ့လူဆိုရင်ငရုတ်ဒီအလော်မို့ဟိုချင်းငန်းဆက်စားခြင်းရင်အချင်းငပြန်ရည်လေးထပ်ထည့်ပြီးတော့အဲ့ဒီနန်းမင်းနဲ့ချင်းငန်းဆက်ဆိုတော့ဒီတိုင်းတက်တက်ဆိုရင်သူ့ရဲ့အရာသာဒီအစိမ့်လို့ပဲအန်တီကတွက်တယ်နဲ့စားပါကအဟာရဓာတ်ပြေဝအောင်လဲစားဖို့ဆိုတာကမုံငါးတပွဲစားပြီးရင်လူတိုင်းဒီအာသာတော့ပြေသွားကြတာပဲအန်တီတို့ဆိုရင်မစားပြစ်ဖူးပဲထားတောင်မှ3-4 ရက်ကတော့တစ်ပတ်မှာ9ချိန်ကတော့စားပြစ်မှာပဲကျင်းသေးတယ်ဒီကြံတဲ့2ချိန်ဒီတောင်မှဒါမုံငါးမစားပြစ်လို့ပေမဲ့ဟိုဘောနော်စိတ်ထဲမှာစားကျင်နေတဲ့ဆန္ဒ
I know that people always say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and it is, But I don't think that we really execute on that. I think a lot of times we're in a rush and we're kind of running out the door, and breakfast is kind of an afterthought. But I also know that on those days when I do sit down and I do eat a good meal and I eat it with somebody that I care about, my family or my friends, I feel like my day is better. You know, you have this moment where you're sharing a meal, it's the first meal of your day, and kind of the day is full of possibilities. And sharing that with somebody before everything gets going kind of sets you up for a better day. You know? I know.
En mutlu insanın en güzel şey kahvaltıda sofrada oturmak, masada yemek yemek.
Cooking always makes the family unite together. My husband, my child, they always help me while cooking. So it is absolutely a family affair for us.
أنا بلاقي إنه كل شيء طبخ بيقرب العائلة لبعضها، لأنه وقت واحد يكون عم بيحضر الأكل بيطلب مساعدة، والناس بنكون كلنا حد بعض، وهيدي فرصة كتير حلوة لنكون مجتمعين.
Inawaunganisha. Wakenya wanapenda chai kama breakfast. Hiyo ni chakula ya kuwapea afya nzuri, kupata nguvu, kufikiria vizuri na kuelewana na kuongea pamoja.
Là cái nghề này là cái nghề đam mê của tôi, là tôi từ nhỏ đó tôi làm. Đấy, vì về đây phải có mẹ chồng nữa là lại truyền lại cho tôi nữa, là tôi đam mê tôi làm luôn. Tôi cũng chả thấy là mệt mà tôi lại đam nghề.
အန်တီမိသားစုတော့အန်တီက9ရက်စလုံးကိုမနှက်စာသည်အရေးကြီးတယ်လို့ပဲယူဆတယ်။သားထားဖို့ဟေးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်စိတ်ထဲမှာအလိုမကြတာလိုမျိုးဖြစ်လာကြမယ်။နောက်ပြီးတစ်ခုခုကိုဆိုရင်အကောင်းမတွေးနိုင်တာလှုပ်ဖို့ရအတွက်ကိုနှောင်နေတာတွေပါအဲ့လိုမျိုးအဲ့ကြတော့မနှက်စာသည်အရေးကြီးပါတယ်
I like grits because they just taste good. And it is also a tradition. So every time you're eating a bowl of grits, you are reliving this tradition, this sort of practice that you had as a family, and it brings you back to those moments that sometimes we just don't have enough opportunity to connect with.